much work to do. We haven't gotten a chance to really settle down. I got all brand new set, brand new band. Every guy is different. I have Michael Warren, who's
See commercial. That is so stupid. That's the most ridiculous, horrifying story I've ever heard. It's crazy. I mean, why? Number one, it's my face as a child.
Translated script Diana Ross and Michael Jackson was 14 years older than him. But for Michael Jackson, Diana Ross was everything. Mentor, mother, muse, and perhaps something more. For decades, the world speculated about what really existed between them. Now, at 81 years old, Diana has finally decided to speak openly about her feelings. But the truth is more complex than any headline could capture. This is the real story of music's most enigmatic bond. Stay until the end because we're going to reveal what Diana said recently that changed everything. Are you enjoying this story, Michael Jackson? Then help the channel grow. Look, 94.8% of the people who watch these videos are still not subscribed to the channel. If you're part of that group, take the chance and subscribe right now. It's free, and that way, you'll keep receiving amazing stories from TV shows that we still miss a lot. And don't forget, at the end of the video, you'll find more stories like this one. It was 1969 in Los Angeles when it all began. The Jackson 5 had just arrived at Motown, and Michael was only 11 years old. Berry Gordy, founder of the label, saw something special in that skinny boy who danced like James Brown and sang like no one else. But Gordy was a marketing genius, and to create buzz around the new band, he invented a story. He credited the discovery of the Jackson 5 to Diana Ross, his lover at the time, even though it was actually Gladys Knight and Suzanne de Passe who found them first. It was pure fiction created for headlines, but something unexpected happened. The fiction became reality in a way no one could have predicted. Michael moved into Diana's home in 1969 for an entire year. Before his family left Gary, Indiana, and settled in California, he lived with her, observing every movement, every gesture, every performance. And what began as childlike admiration soon transformed into something much deeper and more complicated. Katherine Jackson, Michael's mother, wrote in her memoir that her son was completely enchanted by Diana. He called her Mama, but also, teasingly, girlfriend. Michael would provoke his sisters LaTanya and Janet, saying they would only be pretty when they started looking like Diana. For him, she became the absolute standard of beauty, talent, and elegance. But there was a huge problem. Diana wasn't available, and even if she were, the world would never accept a relationship between a 25-year-old star and an 11-year-old boy. Or would it? Years passed, but Michael's feelings only intensified. In 1977, when Diana landed the role of Dorothy in The Wiz, Michael did everything to be in the cast. Not for the film, but to be close to her. He got the role of the Scarecrow, and during filming in New York, something happened that fuels speculation to this day. Diana was invited to Michael's apartment, who is now 19 years old. According to one of her assistants, Diana didn't just visit, she spent the night there. The next morning, when the film crew tried to locate them both, they couldn't. Eventually, the assistant found them together at Michael's apartment. Days later, that same assistant overheard Diana talking with girlfriends. And with a mischievous laugh, she said something that shocked everyone. One thing is certain, Michael is definitely not gay. Curious and surprised, the assistant decided to ask Michael what had happened that night. Michael's response was enigmatic. You'd have to ask her. When he asked Diana, she responded with the same evasiveness. You'd have to ask Michael. Neither denied it, neither confirmed it. And this ambiguity is exactly what makes this story so fascinating. What really happened that night? Only two people know, and one of them is no longer here to tell. But one thing was absolutely undeniable. Michael was in love. He carried a photo of the two of them everywhere he went. In his home, he kept an entire room dedicated to Diana, filled with photos from throughout her career, surrounded by hundreds of candles burning day and night. Friends who saw that space were speechless. It wasn't just admiration, it was total devotion. Michael said that Diana was more than a friend. She was his mentor in the music world, a second mother who guided him during his early rise. But beyond idolizing her, he was secretly attracted to her in a way that went beyond the professional or familial. In 1982, in an interview with Ebony magazine, Michael shocked the journalist by admitting that the most important woman in his life was Diana Ross. When the journalist asked if he meant like a sister, Michael shook his head. No, he wanted to marry her. The journalist was stunned and asked about the age difference between them. Michael responded with a simple but powerful question. What does age have to do with it? For him, Diana wasn't older, she was timeless. She was love itself. A year later, in 1983. Michael described Diana as one of his best friends, the person he trusted with his most intimate secrets. In 1984, when asked about his personal life, Michael admitted he was in love and that someone special was in his life. He never said the name directly in that interview, but at other times he made it clear it was Diana. That same year, he told reporters, "She's everything you could wish for." But Michael's love went far beyond words. That room in his house was living proof of an obsession, a devotion that showed how he had permanently tied his life to hers. And then something happened that shattered Michael. According to rumors that circulated for decades in the industry, Diana had allegedly accepted an engagement ring from Michael in the mid-1980s. Fans claimed to have seen the ring on her finger. During the famous Motown 25 special, and again at the 1984 American Music Awards. That night at the AMAs, something memorable happened. It was the first time Diana kissed Michael on the lips in public, holding his face tenderly as if telling the world, "This is real." Many believe she was testing how the audience would react to their romance, but when they told Katherine Jackson, the reaction was explosive. Michael's mother supposedly called Diana too old for her son, accusing her of corrupting him. Katherine allegedly even went to the press, generating headlines that ridiculed Diana, calling her a cradle robber. The media attacked her mercilessly with cruel jokes about her age. Feeling cornered and pressured from all sides, Diana fled the situation. She married Norwegian businessman Arne Nass, leaving Michael completely shattered. Years of trying to win her over, of extravagant gifts and unconditional devotion, ended in abandonment. Michael's pain transformed into fury, and that fury bled into his music. He wrote song after song about love and betrayal. But one stood out as the sharpest, Dirty Diana. Unlike his softer heartbreak ballads, this one was written with spite. Michael wanted Diana to feel the sting of rejection that he had endured. Many believe the song was never about groupies, but about Diana Ross. The lyric, "She likes the boys in the band," reflected his anger over Diana's history of getting involved with musicians like Lionel Richie, Barry Gibb, and Gene Simmons, even during periods when she was supposedly connected to Michael. The rivalry with Simmons became especially bitter after Diana allegedly whispered Michael's name, while with Gene, igniting a feud that lasted a lifetime. Michael used Dirty Diana to portray her as a woman who chased fame above love, someone who would destroy his relationships with jealousy whenever he tried to move on. From Madonna to Liz Taylor to Brooke Shields, Diana would appear, flirt with Michael, and pull him back in. Audiences saw this play out at award show stages, where she clung to him, blew kisses, and even forgot her lines while openly flirting with him. The original version of the song was even harsher, almost directly calling her promiscuous. Producer Quincy Jones was horrified, begging Michael to tone it down. He warned that everyone would know it was about Diana, and convinced him to disguise it as a song about groupies. Michael reluctantly agreed, revising the second verse to sound less personal. Still, Diana recognized herself in the lyrics. She was furious at first, giving Michael the cold shoulder. Later, when their friendship rekindled, she even joked about it, going so far as to use her own version of the song as an introduction to her shows, proving she understood the message. Beneath the disguise of groupie culture, the truth of Dirty Diana was Michael's raw anger, directed at the woman he loved most. But despite all the pain and fury, Michael's devotion never faded. When Diana finally married someone else, Michael wrote in his autobiography, Moonwalk, about how difficult it was. He wanted her to be happy, but behind his smile was jealousy and heartbreak. He admitted he had always loved Diana and always would. Even trying to move on, dating people like Tatum O'Neal, he still confessed that Diana was his first true love. His music reflected this truth. Songs like Remember the Time were written with Diana in mind. Jermaine Jackson later revealed that this track was Michael's way of capturing the love that got away. And despite her choosing other men, Diana never completely left his life. She sat on his lap at award shows, shared phone calls late into the night, and always seemed to circle back when he needed comfort. Even at the height of his fame, Michaels will reveal the depth of his loyalty. In 2002, he named Diana Ross as guardian of his children should anything happen to his mother. It was the ultimate sign of trust, proof that he wanted Diana tied to his family forever. Throughout all these decades, Diana Ross kept everything to herself, probably afraid of the public's reaction to the bond she shared with a much younger man. The age difference, the rumors, the media scrutiny, all of it made her keep silent. But now, at 81 years old, she has nothing left to lose. So, what did she finally reveal? Diana Ross described herself as Michael's sanctuary. She gave his isolation a name: belonging. At 81, the usually silent Ross finally broke down her walls, describing an emotional bond so deep it blurred every line between family, lover, and muse. Once afraid to admit it, she hid the truth about their bond in darkness. But when she stepped back into the spotlight, she carried that truth with her. Her reemergence in 2025 felt less like a comeback and more like a quiet reclaiming. When she stepped onto the Met Gala red carpet that spring evening in New York, it was a statement. At 81, she moved with the calm confidence of someone who no longer needed to prove anything. Her gown, breathtaking in its design, flowed behind her with an 18-foot train embroidered with the names of her children and grandchildren, each letter hand-stitched like a love letter in silk. It wasn't just an outfit, it was a story spanning decades of fame, family, and resilience. Few knew it was her youngest son, Evan, who urged her to attend. He reminded her not only of what she meant to the world, but also of what she still meant to them, to her family, her audience, and her legacy. She hesitated at first, torn between the demands of her ongoing world tour and the pull of privacy. But eventually, love won. And as she stood beneath the flash of cameras that night, what shone brightest wasn't the haute couture, but the message stitched into every inch of that fabric, that she had built something beautiful, something lasting, not just on stages, but in the hearts of her family. Yet, amid all the celebration and applause, she didn't shy away from the shadows that shaped the story. In rare conversations that followed, low-lit interviews and quiet reflections, she opened up about Michael's battles, the media frenzy, the whispers, the transformation that left him barely recognizable to those who had known him best. But she never pitied him. She spoke of his pain with grace, never judgment. He wasn't broken, she said once, her voice low and steady. He was beautiful, just burdened. She didn't speak to fix the record. She wasn't there to defend. She simply wanted people to see what had always been there. The person behind the myth, the boy she had once guided, the man she quietly mourned. Not a ghost, not a headline, just Michael. And he was mine in a way I never needed to explain. And then, in perhaps her most vulnerable admission, Diana allowed the world to hear words she had often kept close to her heart. But I was crazy about Michael, and I loved him a lot. He was my inspiration. He was a very gentle and wonderful human being, one of the special ones in this universe. And I don't even know if he knew how special he was. His aura is only about love. Are you enjoying this story, Michael Jackson? Then help the channel grow. Look, 94.8% of the people who watch these videos are still not subscribed to the channel. If you're part of that group, take the chance and subscribe right now. It's free, and that way you'll keep receiving amazing stories from TV shows that we still miss a lot. Oh, and don't forget, at the end of the video, you'll find more stories like this one. In those words, the silence of years finally broke. What do you think of the relationship between Diana Ross and Michael Jackson? If Michael were here today, would people at last recognize their relationship for what it truly was? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.